happy Wednesday, or I usually say happy Tuesday, but it's actually Wednesday. So I'm saying happy Wednesday. We are recording on a Wednesday, not a Tuesday. Josh is not here, so too sad, too bad for him, but I'm here with Nicole. How's it going?
Wonderful.
You just heard us cheersing, clinking our glasses. We always have to have a drink when we're recording.
Yes, always.
I think the last time we recorded was, I don't know, last year, a
Yeah.
year ago.
Was it with
I think
Kenny?
yeah, it had to, yeah, in the fall with Kenny.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now, so when we recorded with Kenny, he was not the owner of
No.
Logoff yet.
No.
So he was just head
Yeah.
brew. So,
And I think I was still working there,
yeah.
and then I quit.
Mhm.
And then after I quit, he bought the brewery, and then he hired me back. And so now he is the owner and the brewer, and I am his general manager.
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Now we're drinking Logoff beer again.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah. Nicole came over with some treats. We're drinking. What are we drinking?
We're actually we're co-mixing with our partners in crime. In the district, we call it the Barrel District for all of the breweries in Rancho Cordova, and Movement is one of our breweries that are in the district. And Tommy was canning today and brought over one of their new sours, and then we mixed it with. We were also canning today, and we canned. This is how much we've had. We canned our seltzer, and so we mixed the two together, and it's absolutely delicious.
But this is good. So it's Logoff Cherry Blast. It literally tastes, it's a seltzer. It literally tastes like a slushie. Like you know how when you go to 7-Eleven, it tastes like
a cherry slushie.
A cherry slushie. Yeah. It's so good. Okay. So anyway,
that's what we're going for. We also have just the plain Logoff Blast, which is, we wanted it to be like a Baja Blast from Taco Bell, like the Mountain Dew yummy goodness. So yeah, so now we've changed it to Cherry Blast. So yeah, we're just
love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Doing crazy stuff.
So fun. I need to take Nala again. She loves it there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's where Deb comes and does her homework. Do you know how many people come and do that there?
Yeah.
It is impressive of how many people we have come and actually sit there and do homework.
I think breweries are the new like coffee shops.
Yeah.
Like Logoff is the new Starbucks.
Yeah.
Like with coming to do, but it's just so cozy there.
Well,
I loved it.
You know what? Because the 3 Starbucks that are in Rancho Cordova, they redid them because of the homeless problems that we're having in this area. They've taken out all the chairs. So you can't like sit in there and drink a coffee. Did you notice one right here?
No shit.
Have you been there? The one on Sunrise?
I mean, yeah. Oh, on Sunrise?
Yeah.
No, I just go to this
they
one
took
right here.
everything out because they don't want people sitting in there anymore. So they gutted it to just be a grab your coffee and go.
Wow.
Because they've had so many problems.
Wow.
So yeah, we're getting all of those.
So now you're getting
all of the students now that come and sit in the brewery and with their laptops, which they're supposed to be logging off, but they're not, which is fine.
Right?
Yeah. I go over there and bug them.
I think I was sitting directly below the big Logoff sign working on my homework. I was like, I'm just working. Yes. It's just nice to have a beer and to do some work, and then I get to bring Nala, and Nala gets to socialize. So it's nice.
Dog friendly.
Yeah, she's eating a bully stick right now, so hopefully she'll be a little distracted.
She's fine.
She tends to get impatient when I'm podcasting. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Nala, even though she's really cute.
Or Logoff.
We
talk about that now.
Right, exactly. We have an interesting topic for today. I feel like this topic was perfect for the two of us to talk about because I think it depicts both of us. Although, watch, I'm gonna redo the definition because I feel like you and I have different definitions of it. I feel like everyone has a different definition of it.
Yeah.
And we're talking about hyper independence. And we had a lot of good responses too from on social media. So we'll go over those later as well. But so I just Googled, hyper independence, and the first thing that comes up is, so this is what it says. Hyper independence is a behavioral pattern where someone is overly self-reliant and avoids asking for help, even when it's not helpful or when they need it. And then it also adds, it can be a trauma response that stems from childhood experiences such as neglect, abuse, or other challenging events. And then there's signs also. We'll talk about that in a second as well. But just the definition itself, I feel like for me, it's 50-50 for me. Like I I do think it is a behavioral pattern where you're like overly self-reliant, but because I consider myself hyper independent, but I don't avoid asking for help. Now, maybe initially I will, because I'll be like, I can do it myself. I can figure it out myself.
You can do things self because we're
Yeah.
independent and we want to do it ourselves, but I don't think we are afraid for asking for help.
Mhm.
Like when something comes up, we have no problem going, hey, I got this going on. I need your help. Like, I don't
Mhm.
feel like, and I personally don't feel it's from like past trauma is why I don't
Mhm.
do it. I
Mhm.
just feel like, well, you know what? That's not true because you go through stuff. No, that might be because you've been in bad relationships and you've been through and you're just like, you know what? I don't need your help. I'm gonna do it by myself.
Yeah.
But okay. And then we also Googled like the different types. Like I am definitely 100% a type A.
Yeah.
I am textbooked.
Mhm.
I will do it myself because I just want it done right. Not that I don't want to ask for help, but I don't want to have to do it again.
Yeah. So yeah, like if you just Google, I just Googled type A and type B because when Nicole and I were talking earlier before we started recording, we were just like chit-chatting just for a little bit about hyper independence and what it means to us. You brought up type A and how that can play a role in it. And then it says, type A, it says these people are often ambitious, competitive, and hardworking. They can also be impatient, aggressive, and have a sense of urgency. Type A people may be more likely to set tight schedules, try to do multiple things at once, and become impatient with delays. So yeah, and then type B is, type B is opposite. These people are more relaxed, easygoing, patient. They may be more flexible, less achievement focused, more prone to procrastination or distraction, which is more me. I feel like I can juggle. I feel like I can be type A when I need to be. I feel like I'm mostly
you're type B, but you're also,
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, but I also consider myself hyper independent.
That's what I mean. So you could be type B where you're a chill individual, but at the same time, you're very independent where you don't.
I'm not worried about it.
You just do it because you know it needs to be done.
I'm a type B hyper
Well,
independent.
me, I'm type A and like, I'm gonna do it by myself. I don't need your help. I got it. So I want to ask for help, but not that I don't want to ask for help because if I need help, then
Yeah. I don't think it's black and white. I don't think
No.
it's clear cut. People with the responses, people had some good points to make on like both sides of it and just, some concerns about being hyper independent. And I triggered a few men who decided to be sarcastic with it, but that's their own journey. So anyway, no, but okay. So when I did Google hyper independence and I just read that definition, it said some signs of hyper independence include, and it says isolation. Hyper independent people may live alone and avoid forming relationships with others. So I want to just on that by itself. Yes, I like living alone, but it's not because I'm avoiding forming relationships with others. I genuinely just need my space at the end of the day. And I am not afraid to live alone. And it's like a decompression thing for me. So I feel like that's half right and half wrong for me at least. So that's that. There's that part right there for isolation.
And I loved living alone. I loved it. I had no problem. Been single for yes. Alone for almost 10 years. But the new relationship I'm in now, which is interesting because it works because he has a little in Oregon. So he does visitation there, which then he'll go there. Says he's only going to be gone for 3 days. Always a lie. He's always gone for like 5 to 7 because he's a liar. Which is fine because when he's gone, then I can do all the stuff that I need to do and not feel like I need to be home cooking or spending time with him or whatever. And I don't have to worry about the quote unquote relationship because he's there, he's fine, he's doing his thing, I'm here, I'm doing my thing. Whereas if we were together all the time, that's where I'm a little, I don't know, I'm a little worried because we talk about like he's eventually going to move to Oregon and buy a house and be a more involved all the time parent, which is fine. I want him to. He is the greatest dad ever. His son is amazing. That relationship is by far, he's so lucky. His son is so lucky to have such an amazing involved dad, which I wish my kid's dad was minuscule of what he is. But then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to go there. And I was like, I'm getting a job there. I'm getting something there because I can't just relocate and then not have anything. And he's like, well, you wouldn't be a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home. Absolutely not. I can't. I don't know how to do that. That world to me is like, I don't know how women do that. I personally would go absolutely nuts. I've had 2 jobs for damn near 20 years. Like, I can't imagine having time.
Yeah. You're like, what do I do with all this time? Yeah.
I need to constantly be going. So that's just a little scary because but at the same time, being super independent and super type A, and I own a business. I'm a manager of a brewery, like doing these crazy involved jobs where it's like constantly I get up at 5 a.m. and I'm doing social media for the brewery. I'm getting ready to go clean places at my cleaning business. And then I get to the brewery and it's game on there. And then a lot of times I'll leave and go clean, or I go to the gym or whatever I do. But it's like to not have that chaos is a little scary. But then at the same time, being with Zach, he is the most chill.
He's type B.
Oh my God. He's so chill. There are days when he's like, and he's so spontaneous too, which I'm learning after a little over a year. He's like, we're going away in 2 weeks. And I'm like, I have to get ready. And he's like, no, we're going. And we go. And it takes me about 24 hours to decompress. And then I'm like, okay, and then I go back to crazy, but it's like he's able to take me away from the insanity for a while and just.
So it is possible for you to hold still and relax. And like
it takes a minute.
Yeah.
But I get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I feel like I can relate because I think for me, it's like I go out a lot and I go on trips and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like the type B where I'm just like, yeah, let's go, whatever. If it's fun, if it's in my budget and if it's, if it's my time. But I always find that I'm not the one planning them.
Yeah.
Like whoever invites me, like my friends plan them. Like I'm notorious for that.
Yeah.
Like I don't plan them. I just go. So if I didn't have friends who planned all these trips, I wouldn't go. And I think it's because I'm just like, go, go, go.
Yeah.
I've always had 2 jobs. I have my full-time teaching job and I have my massage business. I used to do personal training, and then it was like working in Midtown.
Something.
Go, go, go.
Always had a side hustle.
Well, and I think it's just, it's 2 things. It's for fear of not being able to provide for myself, just being, just being single / unmarried / divorced, whatever. And I have pride in like, I can take care of myself. Like I don't.
You want to have fun things.
Yeah.
That's what my family's like. When are you going to just get rid of your cleaning business? And it's like, I make so much money. I've had it for 24 years. Like I have had this business that is very lucrative. I've cleaned the same places for 24 years. If I get rid of this, I can go do whatever I want to do. That's my play money. So it's like the brewery pretty much pays the bills, but if I take that away, it's like
no, come here. You want some love? Come here. We could pet you. Come here.
We have a dog that's being a little bit needy. See, she's type A.
I just gave you a blue stick. Yeah. All right.
So, but I don't know how to, it's hard to be able to get rid of the things that we have because of what it does for us. Like you working 2 jobs, it's like you get to have this beautiful place and do whatever you want and go all the places you want to go. But if you take one away, you can survive with teaching, but you don't get to have all the fun stuff.
Right. Exactly. Well, and then, so then being single, that is like the constant thought and fear, right? And just, that's why, I consider myself hyper independent, I guess, because it's like, I'm independent, but I'm also like constantly like looking ahead, like how, okay, I want to go on this trip, so I need to make this much money and I need to make sure I pay this bill and stuff. And I had to budget for Nala, like I got a dog, I have responsibilities now, I have a child now. So
yes.
And so, just, with that, it's like, okay, so what happens, and this is someone's question, and, we'll get into I'll just say it right now. So one of my friends, so Dusty had a question on Instagram. She basically was asking like, how do we, and Kaylin had this question too, how do we balance like a relationship with that? Like as a hyper independent woman, like raising my hand over here, when like a relationship comes into play, which that's currently happening for me right now. I like, I don't know what to do when things are like offered or like when like some even not even I'm not talking about financially or like monetarily, like just someone wanting to be there for you. It's like, oh no, like I can be there for myself. Like sometimes I find myself doing that.
I think in my in my world, you have to be able to. I used to just jump all in, all in. I met this guy, he's great, boom, all in. But then at the same time, you have to think that I did that with my ex-husband. I did that with my ex, who was horrific. But it's like you go all in, and at the same time, it's like you can't go all in, because when you do that, then you're setting yourself up. So I'm learning now, it took me growing and being old and understanding and realizing that when you go all in, you're setting yourself up for potential failure. So at the same time, you have to go, okay, I need to be independent and self-sufficient and be able to hold my own. But at the same time, you got to let go a little bit of that, which does take time, and it takes trust, and it takes finding the person that can actually prove to you that you're worth it, that they're there, and that they are not going to control you, but at the same time be a partner for you, and also be able to, not monetarily, because as an independent person, we have to be able to financially support ourselves. And that's something that going through all of these phases, we've learned that that's something that is very, very hard to let go of. But at the same time, realizing that you can embrace that person and trust that person and have a relationship. And again, I've been with my guy for over a year and a half, and it's like, we are learning that I can finally let that guard down a little bit and trust that he's there, and trust that he's going to be there, and that we're in this together, and we're now a team. But at the same time, there are moments when I'm like, I mean, even last night I was telling him that we're going to do this podcast, and I was like, yeah, it's about being, super independent. And he's like, well, I don't control you. I said, yeah, but it's like, I've got to be able to trust that you're always going to be there. Cause what if you're not? What if you're not? And I let go of one of the things, and then I'm like, shit, I thought that you were going to be there, and I trusted that, and now you're not. And now I let go of that thing. And now what do I do?
Yeah. So because one of the questions on, about this topic, someone was saying like fear, I guess not a question, but just like a statement, fear of losing the independence in a relationship. And she goes into it a little more by saying, I am the hyper independent one, and I constantly feel like I'm going to sabotage things in my relationship to gain my independence back. I'm basically not sure how to let someone into my life. And I think I can relate to that, because one of these signs, going back to the definition, like if you Google it, like, so we talked about isolation for a second. One of the signs of hyperindependence is difficulty in relationships. They may struggle with trust and vulnerability, making it hard to form and maintain close relationships. So for me personally, I feel friendships, I have no problem.
Yeah.
I have no problem trusting other women, or just like friendship wise.
Yeah.
It's not that, it's for sure romantic relationships, because I have been married before. And I have gone, I'm divorced, and like I have been through, nothing crazy, I guess, financially in that department, because we were young.
Yeah.
So nothing, I mean, I lost things. Yes. When we split, and, we had debt that accumulated that I took on because it was under my name. But I just, Nicole.
I was there during that whole
Nicole shaking her head. She remembers. But I guess, just, it is hard to, like, again, just like you, like, I'm like, I don't know how women do that. And that's great. It's not like it's not a slight to women to saying that, like, I don't know how you could just be a stay-at-home mom or stay at home, whatever. Oh my God, I would never want to be a stay-at-home mom, because that seems so freaking hard. I don't want to do it. But I'm not talking shit. I'm not saying that. But I don't want to do it.
With our goals and our drive,
Ooh.
not even goals, just our drive to be at home. I mean, no kids, just in general.
Yeah.
I have to have goals. I have to have a project. I have to have something to do to keep me going.
Yeah. And that's not to say that stay-at-home moms or girlfriends or wives don't have,
It's a different, yeah, no,
yeah.
I had 2 kids. I did it by myself.
Yeah.
But if I were to have someone like, I'm gonna let you, oh my God, staying home with 2 kids by myself, for me personally, absolutely not. My personality, I need to have, well, okay. At the time I had my kids, I had 2 jobs. I raised 2 kids. I had a kid that was in travel ball insanity. God, I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I did it. And then my son, who played all of his boy sports, which thank God were just school oriented, but to be able to shuffle both of them and do all of that, now looking back, I have no, well, I actually have money now. I'm like, oh my God. I didn't borrow money. I'm like, oh, I have it because I'm not traveling all over God's creation with this stuff. But I can honestly say that in every aspect of that whole world, I mean, I think I've done a little bit of it. It's like, I've been a single mom of 2 kids. I've done travel sports. I've done regular sports. I was on every board committee bullshit you can think of. I own my own business. I'm a business owner. I've also been involved in managing actually multiple small businesses, but it's like, that drive for me, that's my type A of my control freakness, is why I think I could do all of that. But then to like, oh no, you're just gonna be a stay-at-home mom. I don't know how I could do that.
Well, and again, it says on, like, when you Google, I think it's a trauma response in terms of like the hyper independence.
Yes.
It's like something has happened, and I know because I know you, and obviously I know me, something has happened in our life, our past lives, to where something was taken away in terms of like, maybe we were like, oh, we're in this unit, and oops, no, we're not anymore, and I better go take care of myself, and I don't need you, and I got it. And it's just, and I think it's a personality thing too. Yeah. I don't know, because I don't know what it's like to trust someone with everything, with like financials, with I don't know, just like sharing a home, like I don't know what that's like.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why I'm just constantly like, I can do it on my own. Someone else said something about just being on that topic. Dusty was saying, if I can find it, just about how she said, talk about how hot it is when a man can bring a woman to her soft era. And I think I know what she's talking about, just because when you're hyper independent, at least for me, I'm just like, I can do it. I don't need anyone. I don't need a man. Like, I don't.
Almost a little bit masculine.
It's masculine. Yeah.
So you're being that provider. You're being the masculine role, but to find, again,
someone who actually like says what they mean.
Yes.
And it's like there for you. It is a jaw-dropping thing to experience.
Yeah.
When someone does come in your life and is like,
it's weird.
Yeah. It's like, okay. You're gonna make dinner. Okay. You sure? Do I need to do anything? Do I want to pay for it? Like I do.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I found Zach, and he is, I mean, he's type A in his business sense. Like he owns a business. He is very driven. He runs his business flawlessly. I mean, he does a great job, but at the same time, there are weeks when he doesn't go to work because he can do everything from home. Whereas I'm up at 5, I'm doing book 2 job, like I'm doing all of the things, but for him to be like, okay, you're good. You don't have to do everything. Yeah. And to actually feel like I can just like breathe and let down my titanium wall of no. And he's like, you're good. But that it is amazing to find someone that lets you drop down that wall and let you feel secure and comfortable in your skin. But at the same time, as someone that's been through so much crap and just go, but I'm scared. I'm terrified. Like,
Yeah.
what if it doesn't work and I let down my
Yeah.
wall and now what is going to happen? But at the same time, you can't have, I mean, you
Yeah.
only live once.
Yeah.
You have got to let down that wall.
Well, and then Dusty also adds, like, maybe talk about how hard it is, or how we exit this era being hyper independence when we do finally find a healthy relationship.
Wild.
It's like,
I still want to have my wall and I try, and he looks at me and shakes his head and is like, no,
it's so
you
hard.
gotta stop. And I'm like, no, I'm doing, and it's funny now because it becomes a joke. And I'm gonna be dependent and I've got this and he's like, stop, you have got to chill out. Like, no, I don't want to. Yeah, it's fine.
He's calling you out. I've seen it happen.
Yes.
I've seen it in action. Just Nicole getting all riled up about something, and Zach just like pats her on the back, and he's like, "It'll be okay, sweetie. It's gonna be okay," and just like cracks a joke and says, "Go have a drink of this beer. Like, you're gonna be fine," and then changes the subject. Like, he's just good.
It's so chill.
Seeing him do that.
Whatever.
And then Nicole just goes, "Oh, fine," and just drinks her beer. In 10 years, 11, I think at this point that I've known you, I've never seen you with any, like, I've never seen you in a relation. Like, this is huge. So it's
huge.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
And I'm learning.
Yeah.
And it's fun because both him and I both of us were single forever. And so coming together, we're learning how to navigate this together. But at the same time, it's kind of cool to have, again, he has his world in Oregon and I'm here. And sometimes, I mean, I need to be better about going there. But at the same time, it's like, you have your space, I have my space, and then we can reestablish our worlds as single people, but at the same time being together. And it's nice to, like, there's no trust issue. There's no nothing. It's like, he goes there, he does this thing. I'm here. I do it. He never questions me. And that's something when you find that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have no words.
It's crazy.
It's wild.
Well, and I feel like, so, again, my friend Dusty responding, Dusty, I hope it's okay that I'm saying all this. Otherwise, sorry.
She's fine.
I've seen her transform just kind of at a distance and up close when I do talk to her. And it looks like she's in just such a great place in her life, relationship wise. And so anyway, she said something, she responded to, additionally to what she was saying how she said, I used to think this was one of my best features, hyperindependence. And now I see it as something that holds me back from so much more, and just how maybe it started in childhood from a lack of, parental support or attention. And I do think, and just to add on to what she said, I do think it is a bit of a trauma thing.
Oh yeah.
I think I'm just trying to, like, evaluate myself, right? For me, like, losing my mom when I was 17 and that being taken away, and my sister was also off of college. So it was just me and my dad at home, like, and he's working, and I'm just like, okay, so, like, I'll cook dinner tonight. Like, I'll just, just kind of trying to step up to be that role for him. Like, I'm just trying to navigate that and trying to go to high school and play sports and have a social life.
Yes.
And then, of course, being married at such a young age and trying to do that by myself. Yeah. And then getting divorced and then going through some more tumultuous relationships after that. I think it's just, it's almost like it's not that I don't trust other people. It's almost like I don't trust myself in choosing somebody.
Yeah.
Cause I'm like, I
have screwed up so many times.
Yeah. Let me just do what I do best, which is my career, working hard, providing for myself, and let me just stick to that. And so, it is, so I appreciate what she said about I feel like she's on the other end of that in terms of where I am, maybe. And I think, she sees it now as that was something that held me back from so much more. So I
don't think so. I really think as
like, maybe
it's so hard for, like, women these days.
Mm-hmm.
My sister, her and her husband, they met in high school. They started dating sophomore in high school. They have been together this whole time. So she doesn't know she has no absolute clue what it's like to do anything by herself. She's always had that partner that has been with her, and they've started a business together. They've had 2 kids together. They've bought multiple houses. Like they've done everything. They went to college together. They've done everything together. So having somebody in my world that I look at and go, wow. But then I'm like, oh, like my personality to be, that's a lot. But for them, and it works for them. So I think that being a very independent person, I don't know how to say it. I feel like I have experienced so many things, and I'm so proud of myself for all of the things that I've been through and been able to go through and be the person that I am today, because I know as an independent individual that I can do anything. Like, give me something, I got you. Like in any realm of the world, whereas people that have had that constant structure, it's like when things are thrown at them, they deal with it in a different way. They have their own way of doing things, but doing stuff on your own and being so independent and so secure and learning how to be just solo is amazing. But at the same time, it's so scary to let somebody back in.
Yeah. Well, it's so empowering, right?
Yes.
And then you're proud of yourself.
Yes.
You're proud of like where you've come from. You're proud of like, I hate to say this, but I'm a woman and I'm doing all this. Like, I know it's 2024, but shit, it's like yeah, exactly. Like, sorry, we're still kind of living in a man's world.
True, but at the same time, we want to be soft in women.
Exactly. It's hard to balance that masculinity of being on your own and being like handling your own shit no matter what, and then still being feminine enough and that's where the relationships come in. And I'm just like, no, I don't need you. Like,
and that's something that I've always told all my girls in all my little girls that are in my world, that you need to be self-sufficient and secure and wholeheartedly independent in your own world, but you don't need to need somebody in your world. You need to want them to be a part of your world. You don't need them because you could do it yourself, but you want them to enjoy this with you. You want them to be a part of it and embrace all of the fun things that you can bring to the table. You don't need them. I don't need anybody in my life, but God, I love having someone to share it all with.
Yeah, I think that we're not going to stop it because we have more to talk about, but we could have stopped. That was great. It's mic drop right there. No, but it's true. It's hard to, it is. And this is why I wanted to talk about it, because like I listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot. Relationship podcasts, like true crime, right? Like everything, like, and I don't know that maybe I need to search further or whatever, but I haven't heard a topic about hyper independence, at least not in a while. So I don't know. Anyway, I don't know if people are talking about it, but it's hard to find a balance.
It is.
Well, and sometimes we do live in a world of ultra feminism. Like a lot of people thought the Barbie movie was very just like demeaning to men, and it was just all about women who are, people took it in different ways. I thought it was cute. I just barely watched it like a little bit ago.
I've never even seen it.
I thought it was cute. I looked at it more from a woman empowering stance and not a oh man, you're below us type thing, but I guess some people took it that way. But anyway, I don't know. Everyone's entitled to whatever they think about things, but I wanted to switch gears a little bit and talk about attachment styles just briefly, because one of my cousins, Eva, she responded, and she said hyper independence seems to often be linked to avoidant attachment styles from my experience. And she, goes on to say, this is just my experience, which that is what everyone's response is your experience, right? And she just goes on to say, my ex-boyfriend 100% was an avoidant attachment style, and he was super hyper independent. He would never ask for help, always felt he could do everything on his own, but then would become frustrated with how busy he was and would passive aggressively take that out on others when overwhelmed. I've seen similar characteristics in other people too, and I think our attachment styles play huge parts in these behaviors. Being avoidant and hyper independent is not necessarily a bad thing, but being aware of how this affects ourselves and others is important. And she adds, and same thing with someone who is anxious attachment and more codependent. So these are all terms. She's obviously been to therapy.
Yes.
So, and I have too. And I've read the attachment styles book and I've taken many quizzes. So I'm familiar with this.
I personally didn't know what that was. So when I got here, we did mine.
I made Nicole, because I briefly went over the responses with
Yes.
you, right?
Yes.
And Nicole's like, what is that attachment? What is she talking about? And I was like, well, don't worry, we'll go over it. So I made her take a quiz. And there are 4, I forget who the author is. I feel so bad. I should look it up. But there is avoidant attachment, which is like fearful attachment, anxious attachment. There is it dismissive?
Yep.
Sorry,
Yep.
dismissive attachment. And then there's secure. I may be missing one. I'm
You're
sorry.
right.
I looked it up
There's
and
4.
then 4. Okay.
Yeah.
And so Nicole's taking the quiz, and as she's answering the questions, because I'm reading them out loud to her, I'm like, I feel like this is going to be a secure attachment.
Okay, so let me be honest. Half of them she answered herself because she knows me so well.
Yeah. I wouldn't even finish reading, and I'm like, no, that's not it. Exactly. So, but what Eva was saying was with the, what did she say? Avoidant. Sorry, I got to pull it back up one more time. So she's saying how her ex was avoidant attachment style, super hyper independent, would never ask for help, but would get like mad with how busy he was. And it's like, dude, you're doing that to yourself.
Yeah, that's self-induced.
Right. Well, because avoidant attachment is just that you're avoiding anything, any confrontation, any help, nothing. Like, you don't want to get close to someone, like. But it's interesting with the whole, because sometimes I feel like sometimes I can be like that sometimes, because I'm like, I could do it myself. I just don't want to deal with anyone.
Avoidant, though.
No,
I don't think you're.
But I'm also not like taking it out. At least I don't think I am. I hope I'm not taking it out on others with how busy I am. Like, no, like it's my choice.
Yeah. To
be this busy. Am I gonna like text some friends and bitch a little bit and be like, oh my God, you guys, I'm so tired, I'm gonna pass out. Yeah. Like, I'm gonna say, like,
but we're girls.
Right.
We just have to bitch about everything.
Am I gonna do that? Yeah. But I'm not gonna just like snap at you one day if you're just saying, hey, what up? Nicole and I always greet each other, and the people would, if you guys look at our text exchanges, you'd be like, what is wrong with them?
You hate each other.
You hate each other. We always say, what up, ho? What up, bitch? What up,
slut?
Yeah.
If I would just say, hi, Deb, she'd go, oh my God, what's wrong?
Oh, I would be like, are you in the hospital? Like, did someone die? Like, what? No, that would be all. Yeah. So
it's always, what up, bitch?
But if you like texted me and you're just like, what up, ho? Like, and I would just be like snap at you and just start like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just taking everything out on you. Like, that's not fair. No. And so it seems like,
but at the same time, I could say, what up, ho? And you're like, oh my God, you won't believe what happened. And then you give me all the stuff. Venting is different than offloading and making me feel like, oh my God, you're just being okay. But then my personality, I'd be like, okay, bitch, get your shit together. What the fuck is wrong with you? Stop it. But at the same time, I mean, there are times when both of us just offload on each other, but that's what friends are for, and that's what relationships are for. But at the same time, if that was your everyday, your go-to, your constant, it's like, dude, what? But that's different.
Yeah. Well, and it doesn't feel like like I did something wrong. No. Like when you're offloading on me, I don't feel like, oh shit, she's mad at me. I just am like, oh my God, like
what's going on?
Right.
What do you need? Let's go meet up.
It's clearly venting.
Yes.
Like I have had it happen to me where someone does offload on me, but also is kind of like putting blame on me as well. And that is when, first of all, I mean, we're going off in tangents that could be whole other episodes, like boundaries and stuff. That's when a boundary needs to be put up, right? But that's when definitely like Eva was saying, like that, that type of hyper independence, maybe in some people, it sounds like obviously it was with her ex, where you're so hyper independent to where now like it's almost like you're angry at the world because you're not not taking accountability for just like you're the one not asking for help, and you're the one
that's your own, that's on you.
Right. So I think, and we're not saying there's anything wrong with hyper independence either. Like I think if you, I think I'm hyper independent.
But being an independent person and having somebody constantly offloading and I'm going to do it myself, but it's your fault I'm doing it. It's like, no, that is self-induced. You've chosen that. And that's something with Zach, because I will bitch about being busy, but at the same time, I'm like, I know, I do it to myself.
Mhm.
I am just bitching at you, but I love, like, he drives me nuts. We're gonna get a gardener. No, we're not, because they're not gonna do it right. I love doing my yard work, although I don't have time to do it. And it gets to where I'm like, oh my God, my neighbors hate me because I haven't done the yard. But at the same time, when it's done, I have so much pride for what I've done. And cleaning my house. I own a cleaning business. If I could have somebody come and clean my house, I would. But at the same time, I'm like, they're not gonna do it right.
Yeah.
I just don't have time to do it, but I want to do it myself.
Yeah.
So that is the hyper independent of, I want stuff done my way, although I'm gonna vent about it. I hope you don't feel like bitch about it, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I get it to where you are being super, I'm gonna be independent, but at the same time, not taking that as it's me, it's you. Like, I'm doing this, but you know, you can't place that blame on anybody else but yourself.
No, yeah, because you're choosing it.
Yeah,
You're an
it's a choice.
adult.
Yeah.
You're an adult. You get to
Yep.
choose whatever you want to do. And I don't think anyone needs to take responsibility for another adult's
Absolutely.
actions, you know, so it's just, it's a very interesting topic, like to talk about,
Yeah.
just hyper independence.
Yeah.
And again, looking at the definitions, I love that people responded. Thank you everyone who responded, because it really brought up some interesting things.
Yeah.
And just, you know, because on the one hand, I do view hyper independence in certain contexts as a good thing. And when I say certain contexts, I mean just the independence part,
Yeah.
right? Like you're independent, you make your own choices, you provide for yourself, you know, mentally, financially, emotionally, like you basically take accountability for your life, right?
100%.
And then the hyper part, I guess, I think that's where it can be a little tricky. Like, well, what does that mean? Is it that you're building up a wall and you're like, nope, no one can help me. I got this on my own. So what, right? That's what, when you Google it, that's what I feel like that's what it kind of means.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm not letting anyone through this. And no one's going to penetrate this wall that I've built for myself because I'm by myself and I'm isolated.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I don't feel like that's me or you.
No.
Like, I feel like we let people in our lives, the good and the bad.
Okay, we both have learned, which is something that is very hard to do, but at the same time, we embrace it wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
We both know it takes a community.
Yeah.
It takes a village. It takes your people to make your life work. Like, yes, I raised my 2 kids by myself with my community. My neighbors helped me. My sister helped me. My parents kind of helped me, but I mean, at the same time, it was like, I had people, I had my village. And even as a friendships, like, you have a village, you have an amazing group of humans that if something goes down, where are we going to bury the bodies? Like, we got your back, like 100%. You have your people that will be there in a second. But at the same time, you still have your independence where I got this. I could do this by myself. You can have this beautiful home. You can have all of your things. You can have your insane dog. You can have all of your things that make your world what they are. But at the same time, you know, you've got your people.
Yeah. Something that made me cry. I'm just gonna say, it did make me cry. So a few months ago when I got in my car accident and I got my car totaled, first of all, that made me cry. Not because of the action of the accident itself, like I'm fine, like physically I was fine, like I got really lucky actually.
Yes, that your car was jacked.
My car was jacked. I was very sad because I had that car for 3 years and it was brand new. I had 8 miles on it when I drove it off the lot. I was, 3 years ago, how old was I? 34, 33, 34. My first car ever purchased at 33. Like, I've never bought a car before. I always had hand-me-downs and I was like happy to take them, like no car payment, score, you know, I don't care. But then years ago, I remember you saying like, that, please, you need a safe car. Like, get a safe car.
Seen her car.
Oh, I didn't care. I loved
bumper. It. Oh my, that's the only way we could find her car in the parking lot because her bumper was jacked. It's like, oh, there's Deb's car.
There were a few dents in her for sure. I was like, I'm not fixing that. You don't need, that's fine. It's still a good bumper.
She's fine.
So it's fine. So when I bought my car, right? And my car payments were like manageable. Like, I put a good down, I had worked hard that summer doing summer school and extra jobs to put a good down payment. Like, I was just proud of myself and I did it all on my own. My car, like, I had manageable car payments and I'm like, so 3 years in, right? I'm like, oh my God, I have 2 more years and this car's paid off. And it was like everything I wanted in a car. She was beautiful, like everything. And then I got in that car accident and then it got totaled. And I was just devastated just because I'm like, the fuck, like, I worked so hard for this car. So let me tell you the part that really made me emotional. And it has to do with hyper independence. So again, well, first of all, of course, it made me emotional with friends just coming, helping me
Yes.
with things and stepping up and what do you need? Like, here, let's help. Okay, this is, call this number. This is what you need to do with insurance. Cause I had never been through something like that before. And just, people just stepping in
Yeah.
and just saying, what do you need?
Yeah.
Like, you, and then when I was car shopping, Jen, Elizabeth, we were talking about her earlier. She's great. We love Jen. She was with me many steps of the way. She let me borrow her car when my rental was up. I had a rental for a month. Like that's how long it took me to find a car. So anyway, okay. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make this a positive thing and use my total money, my total loss money, and just buy a used car. Boom, no car payment. Like, let me start over. Let's not have a car payment, and then maybe down the road I'll get a brand new car again. Like, so that was my goal. And then that's why it took me so long to find like the car that I wanted with the okay. So I had a budget for myself, right? With the money I got from my car being totaled. And I had was talking to my dad, and of course I pride myself on not asking my dad for money ever. Ever. I'm like, do not ask dad for money. You are 36 years old. You do not need to ask your dad for money.
Yes.
Or help or whatever, anything. And my dad's a sweetheart. He's always checking in, like, how you doing? Like, do you need anything? And I'm just like, no, I'm good, dad. Like, thank you. Like, I pride myself on finally not being a stupid 22-year-old and needing money. Right. And so back when I was stupid. So he had offered, like, because I told him my budget and I was saying, I think I found this car, but here's my budget and it's a little over my budget, but that's okay because I got my summer school money and I think I can do it. And my dad's like, can I just pay the taxes on, let me just say, because he kept asking, do you need help, like financially? And I'm like, nope, do not, dad, don't give me, no, I'm gonna do this myself. Don't give me any money. I'm fine. I got this. And so my dad just sent me a check, and it was just to cover the taxes on when you purchase a car. And that, with the car that I found with that money, it covered it perfectly with my budget. And so like I just cried because I'm like, that was it. That was a lot for me to accept. So like so I guess I can call myself hyper independent because that was hard.
That
was hard for me to accept.
Accept the fact that that's what us parents are for.
And I'm not trying to say like and I feel bad. I'm just like, God, like some people don't have parents to even help them out with anything. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying like, I'm not
to put it in a different perspective of, yes, your dad gave you money. It made it all work. But in the same, you could take a whole new perspective of just having somebody come and be able to say, hey, I'm here. I'm here to support you. To be able, as an independent person, to be able to accept that, like, okay, yes, I need your help. So not monetary or whatever, but that's okay. Bottom line, that's what parents are for. My kids have come to me, Mom, and I'm like, you are supposed to be grown. I'm tired of taking care of you. But at the same time, it's like, I am so glad that my kids can drop their pride and drop their ego and say, I screwed up. I need help. Like that, to me, it's like, okay, I did good. So for you to say, yes, dad, I cool. Like, let's do it. So that's a whole different, like, that's impressive. Like, that's good. That's a good thing to have that relationship. And for you to be able to say, yes, there are people in your world. You have your people that are there to be able to always help. So yes, to be an independent human and to be able to do shit on your own and to be able to be that strong person, but at the same time say, I need help.
Yeah. I cried about it because it was it was hard for me to just accept it. And like, I'm like, God, like, do I really have that big of a wall up? Like, I can't even accept some money from my dad, like from, my own flesh, so it's like, it's just a
thing because
it's
we
a
want to
pride
do it
thing.
on our own and we're old and we're grown and we can do it on our own. But at the same time, I mean, I was going through, which was my granny, God love her. I went and had breakfast with her today. This old lady, she's 90 years old. She's had a stroke. She's in an assisted living. I go and bring, she's so fun. She's so funny. My grandpa, when he was alive, would go to Safeway because they were $9 then and would buy her a bouquet of roses every single week. She had a bouquet of flowers. I mean, for as long as I can remember, he did it he would go to Safeway and get her a dozen roses. And so when he passed away, I was like going to her house and she didn't have the flowers everywhere. So I've taken amongst myself, which I tell her, Grandpa told me that I have to bring you flowers. So every time I go see her, I try and go once a week. I always go to Trader Joe's and buy as many bundles. I mean, I went with 5 bundles of flowers today just to make her little space full of flowers. But it's like you go there and I just feel like there are so many people in your world that are just, they want you to do and you need to accept and you need to just embrace all the little things. So my granny she's amazing and she drives me crazy and I want to stab her in the eye 90% of the time. God, she drives me nuts. But at the same time, it's like you have these people in your world. And when I was going through my divorce, I was like, Granny, I have to get an attorney. I've got to do she was like, done. She called. I mean, I just didn't even, she just called and put the deposit on the attorney. And I was like, okay, I need to do this for me. This is my divorce. This is my kid. This is my, and she's like, no, you let me start it. You got the battle. Let me help you get it started. And it was like, after that, I was like, okay, you have people in your world, even though you can be so strong, there's so many people that you have to just understand that want the best for you.
Yeah.
And they, like your dad, he's like, you're going through shit. I'm good. Let me help you. Let me just make it easier for you.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people in this world that want that for you, want that for everyone. And we want everything to be simple and easy for other people. But at the same time, us people accepting it.
That's hard. Well, it's funny because it's like when I don't want to accept it, it's because in my brain, I'm like, I don't want to bother anybody. I don't want to put anyone out. I don't want to like inconvenience anybody. But when in fact, it's the opposite. It's like, no, they want to help.
Yeah.
Or,
do you think you deserve it?
You know what? I think I struggled with that for a long time. So let's go back to therapy.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest, this whole episode is a therapy session. So I think, I don't know. I think that it is a struggle with myself. And I feel like that personality trait of being hyper independent, I feel like that is like a role as well. Or I don't deserve help, or like, not that like, I don't deserve it in terms of like, I think I'm a bad person, just in terms of like, why should I not be able to do things myself? But then when I think that, then I take it to a whole new like dimension. And then I don't know. It's just
you deserve it. People are supposed to take care of you.
Yeah.
Let that guard down. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
You gotta stop it.
Everyone is having an insight to mine and Nicole's this is just a normal conversation. This is like that Nicole and I have all the time. We just hit the record button.
Yes.
This is what we always talk about.
Telling her, stop it.
We always talk
Let people take care of you.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
It's so funny. So Tally, Tally is over here. Tally's my coworker. Well, she moved to the middle school next door, but I still consider her a coworker. And she's my neighbor. And she also does astrology chart reading.
Oh, yeah.
Now. She's really good.
Oh God, she's that moon crazy lady.
She's amazing. So she read my chart, took her 3 hours to read it back to me. It was crazy. But she'll take her own notes as she's like researching my chart, and she'll read her notes back to me. And she's like, I don't know why I wrote this down, but this is what I wrote down. And she just says it, right? And a lot of it was like underlined saying, she's like, I don't need you. I can do it myself. I don't need you. I can do it myself. She's like, does that mean anything to you? And I'm like, well, yeah, that's that's like me every day.
Yes.
And so it's just interesting. It's like, yeah, I'm not sure what, I mean, and then we talked about some things that happened like in my past and just things leading up to it. And we kind of like settled around when my thinking like that happened. And it was probably right before I got married. And then when I was married, I was for sure like, I don't need anybody, And so I think that hyper independence can come in forms of we're not talking financial or monetary things, but like emotionally and like mentally opening up to people and not even sharing like your inner struggles, because that's what I did for a long time is I didn't share with anybody things that I was struggling with, like not even if they're like, I understand you don't want to, you don't want people to know your shit, so you get a therapist, right? Like, but not even that, like I wouldn't share anything. I mean, so I feel like I'm leaned away from that so much over the past few years.
That's
but
good. It's healthy. It's very healthy.
Yeah. But going back to what hang on, going back to what Dusty said in one of her comments, she had a lot to say. Thank you for responding. So I feel like when Dusty's talking about like she saw it as something that held her back and then it started in childhood, I feel like what she may be talking about is the hyper like that end of the spectrum of hyper independence of like, I don't need anybody, I'm not going to open up to anybody.
Yeah.
I have it on my own, like emotionally, everything, right? And then she goes on to say like, what about how to break the cycle and not pass this on to our daughters while also creating independent, loud, fearless women. So I feel like she's talking about one end of the spectrum of being hyper independent, of like not letting anybody in, not accepting any help at all, to like, hey, let's be, like she said, loud, fearless women, independent women, but let's ask for help.
Yeah.
Do you need help? Ask someone.
How to ask for help and be able to still feel like you're in control of, okay, something as stupid as I'm moving. Will you help me move my shit? Like something like that's dumb. Like, I mean, just little things, or I got in a car accident, or, whatever crazy shit I have come up. But it's like to be able to just be like, okay, drop your guard. I have this stuff coming up. I need your help. I mean, us shooting the shit on the phone. What up, bitch? What are you doing? Oh my God, you won't believe what happened. Oh my God, are you okay? Do we need to bury a body? Just all the stuff of, I'm here for you. I got you. What do you need? What's going on? Oh, I have this parent. I have this kid. I want to murder my staff. Like all the stuff that we have just in our normal lives of just being able to bounce stuff off each other, but still feel like I got my shit together. I'm fine. But to have the ability to have that conversation and feel secure and yes, we are very independent women. We have to be. We've been through the shit. We've been through the ringer. We've had too many things happen in our lives to where we have to guard ourselves. But at the same time, I really feel as we get older, I don't feel like I was talking about this with Zach last night as we were talking about this. What are we going to talk about today? And I told him I'm just laying there and I'm quiet. And he's like, what are you thinking about? And I was like, God, I'm thinking about a friend that I had for years. We were really, really good friends for a lot of years, but she was and I didn't realize it when you're in it, that all of the things that she was doing, she was so controlling. And I didn't realize it in it, but now taking a step back, she was like piecing away that wall to where then she wanted to control my world. And I'm like, whoa, bitch. And now we don't even speak anymore. And it's like, you let that happen with my ex-husband, who took away my whole family and my whole world to control my life, and then was horribly abusive, and it was terrible. And then be like, okay. And then to reestablish, and then to get into these relationships where it's like, I'm tired of, and now you're old and you're like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not reinventing myself. This is who I am. If you don't like me, fuck you. This is who I am. And to have that wall up, and if like you want to be a part of my world, this is what you get. I'm not changing for anyone. I am an independent person. I provided for my family. I have done this on my own, and this is who I am. You want to be a part of my world? Embrace me. If not, bye. And it's so at that time, it is empowering and it feels good, but at the same time, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
Because you're fighting for that all the time, because there's so many people that want to pick it apart. And it's so hard, but at the same time.
Do you think that Zach has brought out this, like the softness in you?
Oh my God, yes. Fucking dick.
Yeah. He's like, I hate it, but I love it.
Yes. He has, and it's so funny because my kids, they drive me nuts. Now my kids, I mean, I've been single for a very long time. I've dated, but I have been, for the most part, very single. And both of my kids, Zach's great. If something happens, we know it's your fault. I'm like, what the fuck?
Now they're saying that.
Yeah, Jeff, if something happens, I know it's you. And I'm like, and both of them, Jake, I'm going shopping with him today. We had to buy some stuff for the brewery. And he's like, I'm just telling you, like, Zach's a cool guy. If something happens, we know it's you. And I'm like, hello, I am your mother. So they both have embraced him completely, whatever. But yes, he has definitely poked at that wall.
Well, it's just, and one, it just goes to show that your kids know you better than
Yes.
anyone
Oh.
because they've seen you through it. And I think them saying that, I know they're like, we know it's you, but they know you because they know how hard you've had to work.
Yes.
You've had to have that hard exterior
Yes.
for same.
Yeah.
Like me too, like in different, different
Yes,
situations.
yes,
Like
yes.
you kind of, it's almost like it's like a survival thing.
Yes.
But that, so when someone does come into your world, like that's what I'm seeing in you, and I'm seeing it in Dusty, and I'm seeing it in some other friends of mine. They're like, oh, like, okay, I don't need to have my fucking porcupine.
Yes.
I don't need to be, I don't
Yes.
need to have my claws out. Like I can reel it back in a little bit.
Yes.
Like, so I think that's really encouraging to see. And again, I think going back to just what it says online and
Yes.
what Dusty said, I think it is a trauma response.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just to, if you think about it and
all of the things that happen, you
Mhm.
just build it up, build it up, build it up, build this wall as high as you can because you're just so tired of going through it. But at the same time, if you didn't go through it, we wouldn't be who we are right now.
Yeah.
So it's like you do have to go through all that shit to be able to say, you know what? I'm a bad bitch. And I bring it. Like even my poor staff, I'm like, let's go. You guys want to go? Let's go. And it's fun because I do have a very light personality and I love messing with people, and talking shit is my favorite thing in the world to do. But at the same time, everyone in my world knows I have your back, and let somebody mess with you. I will fuck them up. Like I have no problem. And that's one thing that I pride myself with. I am not afraid of confrontation. I am not afraid to have those hard conversations like we talked about before. There is a time and place in certain circumstances to have those hard conversations, and you need to grasp all of the information, and you need to hold it in your pocket, and you need to categorize them and make it right to have the conversation when it's supposed to happen. But at the same time, I think because of the situations we've been in, we are not afraid of them.
Yeah.
If you need to have that conversation, it's like, just like you in your new little relationship, it's like, okay, this is how I feel. This is what I need. This is what I want. If you don't want to abide by my choices and my needs, then bye. But at the same time, you don't want them to go. You don't want them to leave. But at the same time, they need to understand you. They need to understand what you've been through and why you have those feelings.
It's already forced me to be just kind of like more, just like I tell myself, just I have to like relax.
You need to relax, but you need to be transparent, and you need to have those conversations.
Well, yeah. And like that's already happened.
Yeah.
Like
it's healthy.
Yeah. It's already been a situation of like, I was looking forward to an evening alone because I had a massage cancellation, and that's what I told him. And he said, oh, can I come on? Like, do you want me to bring a movie over? Or do you want to? And I was like, no, I want to, and because in my head, I already had it figured out. Like I need to breathe. Like I just need to sit and chill. And so he didn't quite understand that. Like, some people, see it as a sign of like, oh, she don't want to hang out with me, or like rejection. So I get that. So we had to have a conversation of like, I'm like, listen, this like, so this is just, I just needed a moment. Like I needed some space.
Somebody okay, this is something I've learned too. This is so stupid. It's so dorky. So Zach and I, because I am so like, everything has a space, a time, and I'm so driven, and he knows that but then I also need my space. But we're in the same house, and we come home, and I'm on this crazy diet. So I'm cooking all this crazy food, and we eat dinner together. And then at times when he's like, I'm gonna go watch I'm gonna watch my show in the room. You sit out here and watch yours. And I'm like,
thank God.
And but it's like, you can learn to read each other. And it's like, I didn't get offended he was in the room. He didn't give two shits I was out on the couch. But it's like, we still, even in the same space, need our space.
Yeah.
And you learn how to read each other, and you learn that that's not a bad thing. That's an amazing thing. So for him to be able to say, okay, cool, you need your space. And for you to be able to say the words and not be like, okay, well, I don't want him to feel bad, so I'm going to have him come over and then sacrifice your feelings. So at the same time, you're like, have the conversations, learn, and then is it going to work? Is he going to respect your wishes? Is he going to be able to be understanding and confident? And no, I'm not dating somebody else. No, there's nothing. I just need to breathe.
Yeah.
If he can do that, then
yeah.
Oh shit. That might find someone.
We'll see. Level's still up a little bit. No, No, it's just, I think this was just a really good topic to talk about. I feel like, like you and I, and we have friends that are in the same boat as us in
Yes.
terms of like being single or dating
Yes.
or like newly dating or in a, long-term relationship but not married. Like it just like we have similar friends that like I feel like would need to hear this.
Yeah.
Because we know a bunch of independent bad bitches.
We have tons of bad bitches. Hey, that's one thing that I've learned in my old age. I had a million friends. And as I've gotten older, my crowd is very small now. And it's all the bad bitches that are on the same plane as me and that understand me and don't try to control me and don't try and take my world and my time and needy and all that. Whereas I can be like, bitch, I haven't talked to you in 2 weeks. What the fuck are you up to? What are you doing? And you're like, well, let me tell you. So it's like those are the people that you need in your world that aren't demanding of your time and don't require every moment of your time, but at the same time are always there for you.
Yeah. I think that was well put. It's huge. It is. I think that's a good stop. That mic drop. Nice.
A couple.
Let's cheers. One last cheers. Cheers. Clink. Hopefully everyone listening is well, don't drive. If you're driving, no, you're not. No. Anyway, if you're at home, have a drink when you get home if you're driving and listening to this. But cheers. And I feel like we could talk about this for 5 more hours.
Oh yeah.
But we like going to bed early, so I'm gonna let you go. And Nala looks like she wants to walk, but I think this was great. And Josh, sorry you couldn't be here for this, but
we love you and we miss you, but you know what? You can't be a bad bitch like us.
I didn't say that. Nicole said that. Trying to be nicer to Josh.
He's fine. You're fine, Josh. You're gonna be good.
I'm actually nice to Josh. You talk shit about me, but
I know.
We're good. See, Josh is my friend. See that, Josh? I called you my friend, not just my co-friend. Okay.
Coworkers.
We don't coworkers. Your coworkers. Is that worse? Probably worse. Worse than co-friends. Coworkers. We're not even friends. You got demoted, Josh, to coworker.
You're a coworker now. Sorry, Josh. Okay. Although we do need to have one with the 3 of us so we can catch up. I don't really have any more fun stories. I'm sure we can come up with more. So, sorry. Zach and I were also talking last night. He was like, you know what? Because he was asking me just about my dating world. And I was like, at one point, I told Deb of some of my stories and I told her I wanted to write a book. And she was like, I'll write it for you. And he was like, shut up. She's going to write your book. And I was like, wait, I don't know. She's got better stories than me. So we need to co-write a book. Can you imagine us writing a freaking dating book?
I mean, we're going to have to change names. We're going to have to change.
Oh God, no.
A lot of
well, I don't have the names I don't remember. We would just tell the stories. Holy shit. Can you imagine this date I went on?
Or we could just talk about it on Not Here to Judge. We could just do date.
Yes, you need to bring it back.
I know.
Okay, Josh, you need to bring it back. You need to push it.
Keeps happening and it's not happening, but I'm gonna try to make it happen. All right, thanks, guys. Thank you. You guys can follow us on Connectable. Wait, Twitter.
Don't look at me.
I looked at Nicole. I was like, help me. You guys can follow us.
There's a bunch of them.
Twitter at connectablepod and all other social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. I think I said them all at Connectable Podcast. So thanks for listening. And cheers.
Good night.
Bye.
Thanks for watching the show. If you enjoyed that episode, make sure you like it, share it, and hit the subscribe button to get a new episode every week. We'll see you next time on the Connectable Podcast.